The first challenge came in the form of a massive ion storm, its swirling vortexes of charged particles and electromagnetic fields threatening to tear the Dawnbreaker asunder as they attempted to navigate the treacherous canyons of the Croctee's Badlands. Shields are holding, but barely Zara shouted over the cacophony of alarms and straining bulkheads. "We can't take much more of this." Arra gritted her teeth, her knuckles white on the control yoke as she fought to keep the ship on course. The viewports were awash in a maelstrom of seething energy, the storm's fury battering the Dawnbreaker's hull with relentless force. But through the chaos, Arra's training held true. With a deft series of maneuvers, she threaded the ship through the narrowest of gaps in the canyon walls, using the rocky outcroppings as a buffer against the worst of the storm's wrath. It was a harrowing passage, a test of skill and nerve that left the team shaken but unbroken. And as they emerged from the storm's clutches, the battered hull of the Dawnbreaker, glinting in the wan light of Arra Septim's distant sun, they allowed themselves a moment of hard-won respite. But the trials were far from over. As they drew closer to the coordinates of the Malaxian stronghold, the team found themselves forced to abandon the relative safety of the Dawnbreaker, the ship's profile too conspicuous to risk detection by the enemy's sensor nets. And so they set out on foot, picking their way through a labyrinth of jagged canyons and wind-scoured plateaus, the weight of their mission heavy upon their shoulders. It was here, amidst the stark beauty of Arra Septim's rugged terrain, that the next trial found them. Hold up, Rafe hissed, his hand raised in warning as he crouched at the edge of a narrow defile. "I'm picking up seismic activity, and a lot of it. Something big is headed our way." No sooner had the words left his lips than the ground beneath their feet began to tremble, a low rumble building to a deafening roar, as a massive shape burst from the earth in a spray of rock and debris. Lion's Jax bellowed, his heavy weapons already blazing, as he opened fire on the monstrous creature that reared before them. Arra had heard tales of the antlions, the gargantuan insectoid predators that lurked beneath the sands of Arra Septim's wastelands. But nothing could have prepared her for the sheer scale of the beast that now towered over them, its chitinous hide glistening with a sickly sheen, its mandibles dripping with corrosive ichor. The battle was joined in a heartbeat, the team's weapons roaring to life as they fought to keep the creature at bay. But for every searing blast of energy that scorched its hide, the antlion seemed to grow more enraged, its attacks becoming ever more frenzied and unpredictable. It was Kell, the unflappable sniper, who finally turned the tide. With a coolness born of long years of training, he waited for the perfect moment, his rifle trained on the antlion's gaping maw as it reared back to strike. The shot, when it came, was a thing of terrible beauty, a lance of pure energy that pierced the creature's skull and sent it crashing to the ground in a twitching heap of lifeless chitin. The team stood panting in the aftermath, their armor scorched and battered, but their spirits unbroken. They had faced death in the form of a living nightmare, and they had emerged victorious. But even as they caught their breath, the weight of their mission pressed upon them anew. The Malaxian stronghold lay ahead, its secrets and its captives awaiting their liberation. And so, with a grim determination, they pressed on, the close calls and narrow escapes of their journey only serving to harden their resolve. For they were Orion's finest, bound by a code of honor and a bond of camaraderie that no force in the galaxy could break. And they would not rest until their mission was complete, until their comrades were safe and the enemies of peace and justice lay broken at their feet. The journey through the treacherous wilds of Arra Septim had been a crucible, a gauntlet of perils and close calls that had tested Arra and her team to the limits of their endurance. But through it all, they had persevered, driven by the unbreakable bonds of loyalty and the burning need to bring their captured comrades home. And now, as they crested a jagged ridge and gazed upon the sprawling expanse of the Malaxian stronghold, they knew that their trials had not been in vain. The fortress was an imposing sight, a vast complex of fortified bunkers and towering gun emplacements, all encircled by a bristling perimeter of energy barriers and sensor arrays. It was a bastion of the enemy's power, a symbol of their iron grip on the war-torn world of Arra Septim. But to Arra and her team, it represented something else entirely: hope. Hope for their captured friends. Hope for the countless innocents caught in the crossfire of the planet's unending conflicts. Hope for a future free from the tyranny of greed and oppression. There it is, Marcus rumbled, his voice tight with a mixture of anticipation and grim resolve. The belly of the beast. Arra nodded, her gaze never wavering from the distant fortifications. And somewhere in there Jack, Nara, and Tiev are waiting for us. The mention of their comrades' names sent a ripple of determination through the team, a palpable reminder of the stakes they faced. "So what's the plan?" Boss Rafe asked, his eyes glinting with a predatory light. "We gonna go in guns blazing, or do this the sneaky way?" Arra considered for a moment, her mind racing with the variables and contingencies of the mission ahead. The Malaxian stronghold was a formidable target, its defenses designed to repel all but the most determined of assaults. A frontal attack would be suicide, a waste of lives and resources that they could ill afford. But there was another way, a path that had opened up to them through the tireless efforts of Zara and the invaluable intelligence provided by Marcus's contacts in the Free Miners Collective. Neither Arra said at last, a slow smile spreading across her face. "We're going to use their own weapons against them." She turned to Zara, the tech specialist's eyes already alight with understanding. "You've cracked their comm encryptions." Zara nodded, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface of her wrist-mounted computer. "And their security protocols. We should be able to slip a team in through one of their supply convoys, disguised as Malaxian logistics personnel." Marcus grunted, his expression a mixture of approval and concern. "It's a big risk, if they catch on to us." "They won't," Arra said, her voice ringing with a confidence born of absolute faith in her team. "We've come too far to fail now. This is our chance to strike a blow against the Malaxians and bring our people home. And we're going to take it." The plan was set in motion with a flurry of activity, each member of the team falling into their assigned roles with the practiced ease of seasoned professionals. Zara worked her technical magic, crafting flawless false identities and security clearances for the infiltration team. Rafe and Kell, the masters of stealth and subterfuge, took point on the physical disguises, transforming themselves and their comrades into the spitting images of Malaxian soldiers. And Arra pored over every scrap of intelligence they had gathered, every fragment of data and whispered rumor, searching for the key that would unlock the secrets of the Malaxian stronghold and lead them to their captured friends. It was a tense and frenetic time, a race against the clock as they prepared to embark on the most daring operation of their lives. But through it all, the team remained focused, united by their common cause and the unbreakable bonds of camaraderie that had seen them through so many trials before. And when the time came, when the disguised infiltration team boarded the supply convoy and set out across the war-torn wastelands of Agrana Septum, they did so with a sense of purpose and resolve that no force in the galaxy could shake. They were Orion's finest, the tip of the spear in the fight against tyranny and oppression. And they would not rest until their mission was complete, until their friends were safe and the enemies of justice lay shattered at their feet. The Malaxian stronghold loomed before them, a bastion of the enemy's power and a symbol of the challenges that lay ahead. But Arra and her team were ready, their spirits forged in the crucible of adversity and their hearts alight with the fire of righteous determination. And as they passed through the gates of the fortress, their disguises holding true and their purpose unwavering, they knew that they were one step closer to their goal, one step closer to their discovery that would change the course of their mission and the fate of Agrana Septum forever. The supply convoy rumbled through the gates of the Malaxian stronghold, a procession of heavily armored vehicles and grav trains laden with the lifeblood of the mercenary army. Amidst the organized chaos of the loading docks, a quartet of figures moved with purposeful strides, their Malaxian uniforms and bearing blending seamlessly with the sea of activity around them. Arra felt her heart pounding beneath the unfamiliar weight of the enemy's armor, her every instinct screaming for action, even as she maintained the facade of a loyal Malaxian soldier. Beside her, Marcus, Rafe, and Kell moved with the same coiled intensity, their eyes scanning the bustling crowds for any sign of suspicion or recognition. They had breached the outer perimeter, but the true test of their infiltration still lay ahead. I hope you enjoyed the story so far. It's just part of a much longer and grander story. Please be sure to subscribe and drop a like too. The next part of the story will be in the top left once it's out.